Hi, this is Dawn Olszewski and welcome to another episode of How'd She Do That? Today we're going to make this card. This card was inspired by another project that I saw online that reminded me of when I first started stamping. And I would stamp several layers at the same time. And I don't remember what it was called back then, but I'm going to call it triple time stamping. We're going to get 3 layers. We're going to stamp them all at the same time, and you are just going to love it. So let's get started. So here's our 3 layers so that you can follow along. I have the measurements here for you. It's 2 by 3 1/4. That's your neutral color, which I'm using very vanilla, and the matte for that measures 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. The color that I'm using is Early Espresso. And then our second layer is 3 by 4 1/4, and the matte is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And then our base, so this is our third layer we're going to stamp, is 4 by 5 1/4, and the base of our card is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. I'm just going to go ahead and fold that in half. Alright, so let's get started with our stamping. What I've done is I've already stamped the Best Wishes, and that is from Petite Pears. And I've stamped that in Early Espresso on our smallest layer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use just a little dab of adhesive here, and I'm taking away a little bit of the tackiness on it as well. We're going to layer that right in the center of the middle layer. Now I only used a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing on this one because I do want to be able to remove these layers to finish my card. But we're going to do the stamping all together, so that's why we're going to layer them all together. So we've got 1, 2, 3 layers, which is why I call it triple time stamping. We're going to get out the Creative Elements stamp set. This was new in last year's catalog, in the 2011 catalog. I'm Stampin' Up, and we're going to use this large image and then this floral image. So we're going to start with Crumb Cake, and we're going to start on this kind of flourish sort of image. Now with these larger stamps, I like to ink them upside down. Now what I want to do is I want to cover all of this pretty much with it, but I recommend starting in the center, and then you can work your way around the edges. Alright, so we'll continue doing that here. Just filling in as we go. Okay, I'm just going to fill in my last little area here. And there, that's all covered with our first step. Now I'm going to come in with this floral piece, this little flower that we have here, and I'm going to use Early Espresso for that. Get that inked up really good here. And again, I'm going to start from my center and work my way around. And I want to stamp so that the image is going off onto at least one of the layers. Sometimes they can go on all 3. Now you're going to see a gap here, and that's okay because that is all going to get fixed, if you want to call it, when we put our card together. So I'm just going to finish this up real quick. And there we go. So that's what our stamping looks like before we do our finishing touches. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just pull these off and see how we get. It's like it's masked off here. Kind of cool. You could even use this as like a background technique with a focal point in the middle, but I like this technique that we're doing here. So I'm going to layer these pieces. I'll get the black here out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Go ahead and layer the first set, and then I'm also going to layer the second set, and I'm going to attach those 2 together. Alright, and then this goes in the center here. So now here's something to keep in mind as you start to layer these. I'll come in a little bit closer so you can see. You don't want to accidentally get your pieces upside down here. You want the continuation of those floral patterns to be kind of like, it looks like it's almost seamless going into that area. So isn't that neat? Now before we do the third layer, I'm going to add some embellishments here. Okay, so I'm going to work with these natural designer buttons. These are new from Stampin' Up. You get 24 in a pack. They're 8 of 3 designs. And I have the 3 right here for you to see here. Here's what they look like. And any one of those 3 would probably look really nice on this card. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this middle one. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'm going to try to use the big one. Then you also need some baker's twine. This is the Early Espresso baker's twine, and we're going to use 32 inches. I've already cut some, so we're ready to go on that. And let me show you how I put this on. So I'm going to hold off to the side here. I'm going to about 6 inches or so. I'm going to hold that down as I wrap the rest of it around the card. And I'm doing that 3 times. And then at this point I'm kind of making sure that this is where I want it and it's nice and straight. And I'm going to do the first half of a knot. And we'll just let it sit there like that. Now this is the point where I'm going to put the button on. So I'm just going to thread it through. There's one. And thread it through the other side here. Alright, and then I'm going to tie it again. There we go. Now what's nice about this is that I still can move my whole button twine little piece here around. I'm going to tie it in a bow here, just like you're tying your shoe. And fix it. Do a little fadoodling with it. There we go. And you can trim off your tails here a little bit. Alright. So that's kind of cool. I kind of like the big button. Alright, so I've added some dimensionals on the back here, and we'll just get those ready to go. We're going to add it to the base of our card, which I've already added that 3rd layer to. So there you have it. Isn't this a great card? I love this technique. I think it can be used on a lot of different variety of stamp sets. It creates such a beautiful end result. I'm sure your friends will love receiving a card like this. I just added a little touch on the inside. So I hope you enjoyed that. Be sure to stop by my blog at dostampingwithdawn.com for more creative ideas and stamping tips.